Hello, that's us, your shady and confused hosts. This week, looking at Eyes Wide Shut. Beth, a pleasure as always. What's the crack?
I'm gonna start working on my enunciation
Okay.
because I'm realizing that I hubble mumble a lot.
Hmm.
So I'm sorry, everyone, that you can't understand what I'm saying ever. So I'm just aware of
I
that.
don't.
I feel like I've watched some of like our clips back, and I'm like, I don't. What is? How do people even know? I'm not making any sense.
Okay.
So
I,
I'm gonna work
I,
on it.
I think that like the yoga teaching has really made me like. I mean, I still speak quickly, but like I have to take my time a bit more. So like sometimes I lose the grip on that and I settle back into my old ways. But by and large, I'm better than I used to be.
Uh-huh. Um, okay, so it's been a couple weeks since we've
Hmm.
seen each other. I was at one of our friends, mutual friends' weddings in outside of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Uh-huh.
It was lovely. So Alexa, if you're listening, I'm mumbling. Um, but if you're listening, we love you
We
and
do.
congratulations.
Hmm.
Josh, same goes to you. I haven't been to that part of the East Coast of the States for since in like 1989. I was 6 hours from where I was born. Um, Tiny town. There's like 3,000 people. She calls herself a townie. She's like, I'm a townie. I like because she lives in town. She's like, I've always been a townie.
Okay.
So I got to, it's just interesting seeing a friend. It's like going and like visiting you and like meeting your parents
Sure.
and seeing where, like showing the kids Sasha and like they're able to see you in your natural environment.
Yeah.
So I got to see our friend Alexa in her natural environment and um her wedding was epic. It was in the forest. It was totally her. There was she was burning incense everywhere, candles. She drove they got married on her parents-in-law farm. They have a really beautiful farm. But like the aisle was so big that they were trying to figure out like how they were going to get her from the house to the forest where they were getting married. And she was like, maybe a horse. And then someone was like, haha, you should like drive my white Porsche. And she was like, actually, that's a really good idea. So that's how she came down the aisle was her dad was driving her in a white Porsche.
Amazing.
And um, yeah, she looked gorgeous. It was wonderful. So two of the highlights that I told you about, I went what's called coal tubing.
Hmm.
So it's like it's coal mining town. Her father-in-law is a retired coal miner. So the two big industries used to be coal mining and steel mills. Most of those have closed down. So you can feel, the weight of the economy there for sure. So it's kind of like a make your own fun kind of place. So we rented inner tubes and you click them all together, you get your cooler, and there were like, I don't know, eight of us. And the bus picks you up, this blue bus, little short bus, and they drop you off, and you get your tubes and you float for like 2, 3 hours down the river. And everyone's like listening to music and dropping stuff in the water. And I don't know, it was just really fun.
That sounds awesome.
Um, and then she was like, let's go. There's this abandoned mall I know. And I was like, uh-huh. And she was like, they've got like, there's one guy that is trying to bring life back to it. And this is something that's happening across America. All these malls that they built in like the 80s, they don't have no one has money anymore. So no one can afford to spend
Yeah.
money at a mall. Um, but there's this one guy that's trying to like open up part of it to bring life back. And so there's like a few restaurants, like two, and then there's a massage place, and maybe like a vet. But then the rest of it, like that's like, four or five shops. But they have to, it's not like you can gate off the mall, right? And the mall is the mall. So
Hmm.
it's huge. And there was like no one there. So you're driving to this empty parking lot, you walk into this empty mall, and all I can think of was The Last of Us. Was it The Last of Us, the
Hmm.
show?
Hmm.
Where like the zombies are in the mall and uh I was like, Andy, I might die, probably gonna
Hmm.
become a zombie now. And you're like, enjoy your zombie life.
Yeah.
But it was just the most eerie. amazing thing. And she's like, we probably should go because everything's closed. And I was like, no, we're gonna run around and I need to take a video.
I've seen it being used for things like this before, but I love the idea of like turning them into like paintball arenas, or like I know literally there has been like zombie experiences done in abandoned malls where there's a ton of like extras who dress as zombies and you have to like escape them all, etc. And I think those are such cool ideas. Maybe too niche, maybe not like a money spinning idea, but it's lovely. It's
Yeah.
a lovely concept in my opinion.
They also, Pittsburgh built another airport. So there's the old airport and there's the new airport.
Okay.
And I was like, I was talking to my taxi driver and I was like, so they just built a new airport. He's like, yep, next to the old airport. And I was like, you didn't revamp the old airport, you just built a new one because you had all the space in the world. And he was like, yep, I just built it next door. And I was like, that much space, you could just build another one.
How
And he's
nice.
like, yeah. He's like, I was like, what are they going to do with the other old airport? And he's like, they're going to turn it into a film shoot location.
Okay.
And I was like, well, that's someone's perfect job. So if anyone's listening that wants to maybe work at the Pittsburgh abandoned airport, how amazing would that be? That's like my
Yeah.
dream job. But also like I'm in California where space is such a premium
Yeah.
that that idea of building, I just like couldn't compute it. I just kept asking him the same question over and over and over. It's just interesting.
It'd be the same here, I think, a lot of the time,
Yeah,
in terms of like, you know, certainly in the sort of places that you would want an airport, there's just no space at all, you know.
yeah. Well,
Um,
and that's because, you've got like generations of that's been in the family for la
yeah,
la,
this
or the
is also very
fairies live
true.
there.
And yeah, exactly. Ferry issues, land
Fairy
rights
issues,
issues,
Lance rights.
all of the above causes
Yes,
problems. Like it's
yes.
also like the Belfast International Airport is a 30-minute drive from Belfast, which always cracks me up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So not Belfast International, more than Northern Ireland International.
Right, 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 right. How are you? What's the crack?
So since I was chatting to you last, I went on a bike packing trip with my good friend Mike. It was lovely. I was like unsure about going on this trip just because I didn't feel very bike fit. I am not very bike fit, but
You
I
come to
am,
find out?
yeah, I'm also like fit-ish, fit enough that it was like, I was able to manage it. So like, even though it was tough, first day we did, um, okay, let me remember this exactly. We did about 50 miles of cycling and we ascended about 1,500 feet.
Thank you
Um,
for saying feet
yeah. We still use feet over
and
here.
miles.
Yeah.
Okay, I know, but
It was tough. It was going from
how
zero
many? Sorry, how
cycling
many feet?
about 1,500 feet of ascension.
That's substantial.
It's just because it's like what we quickly learned was we would look at a cycling route and it would say mostly flat, and mostly flat is some actual bullshit. You just don't
Yeah.
get mostly flat in Scotland. It's just lots of like little kind of hills here and there. Um, but yeah, really great trip. And I think once I kind of got my legs under me, it wasn't so bad. I think I found my cardio was good, but my legs were not right for it. And also like saddle sores and things like that. Um, so no, but like honestly, Eve once when the cycling was good, it was great. And we had like just such wonderful experiences. The east coast of Scotland is so beautiful. We were like hopping about island to island, getting lots of ferries. I love like local ferries. Local
I
ferries are
do
just the
too.
fucking best.
Have
Um,
you taken any of the little like have you been to Victoria or Vancouver, BC?
no.
They've got these adorable little, I'll send you a picture. Everyone should Google like the little ferries that they have, little tuk-tuk.
Oh,
They're like
really? Nice.
they look like mini tugboats. They're adorable. I'll send you
So
videos.
nice. Please do.
Yes.
Um, but
Those
yeah,
those
I
are
mean,
my favorite, but I
it was
love a good
just
ferry.
it's hard to beat. We stepped onto one of them and we were like set our bikes down and we walked past a guy and we're like, like how do we get up into the passenger deck? And he just he waves us along and he goes this way to a place of supreme quality. And it really tickled us so much. We really laughed. And it was nice. We were like, well, afterwards we said it was actually a place of supreme quality. Thank you very much. Thanks for pointing it out. Um so just great. Like, and I say, Isla in particular is known as um like it's a kind of hub for whiskey. There's distilleries all across the island, so we visited a handful of distilleries. Um,
I know, is it Oban?
Open like a villain, maybe you might know.
Lefroy?
Lefroy, you probably know. Yeah, they're all on there. And it's like filled with them. Um, And then like we went to Jura, which is like this kind of island beside Isla, and it's like one of those things. It's like I've not been to many places quite as remote in terms of like the amount of people that live there. There's only 300 people total in Jura, and but there's big roads and stuff, you know. And but yeah, just absolutely stunning. I could probably talk about it for a lot longer, but like an incredible trip, really lovely. So glad I finally did it. I think I'd like to go back to Isla just itself at some point and just kind of cycle around there and hit up all the distilleries. But yeah, wonderful time away. Um, the other thing
You
that I did,
also sent me some sexy photos of Highland cattle.
oh yeah,
They're beautiful babies.
we were talking about how dreamy they were. They've got the best hairstyles
They
ever,
really
and
do. They really
yeah,
do.
oh,
So
so
thank you.
pretty. Yeah, but yeah, real nice. And it's just like such a like in the grand scheme of things, they are not that far from Glasgow and Edinburgh and other big capital cities, but they feel so distant. They feel so like isolated in their own way, and it was really lovely. It really was.
I'm so
Also, just
glad.
like we got a beautiful week of weather for it, and like some of the weather in places was almost like tropical. It was kind of nuts. It really was very humid. Like probably more subtropical than tropical, but it was crazy.
Were there
Um,
bees?
hmm? Yes,
Were
there
there
were
bees?
bees, Beth. Of course there were bees. The other thing I've done since last I spoke to you was I went to the Fla, which is the
The
Fla.
fla? The
Hmm.
fla.
Do you want to take a guess how you spell that? It's an Irish word.
Okay, like Gaelic?
Yeah.
Okay. Flaighththt.
No, no, no. It started strong, went completely off the rails. It's Fleadh, right?
Yeah, mine made more sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um,
That's not
uh,
true. I don't speak Gaelic. I
no.
wish I did.
It was actually really interesting actually being over in those islands because there's a lot more Scotch Gaelic over there, and we talked to a guy about that because he studied them both, and I was like, "Is there a big difference between Irish Gaelic and Scottish Gaelic?" And he goes, "Not really," and he goes, "If it wasn't for like certain dialects, they would almost be probably recognized as
A
the
common
same
language.
language because there was
Yeah.
so many like signs, and I was like, I know that Irish word, I know that Irish word." Very
And they're like, it's
interesting.
Scottish. It's
Yeah,
not Irish.
yeah, this is
Huh.
it. Yeah. Because like, and I suppose it's because like these islands are not far from Northern Ireland or Ireland in general. Do you know what I mean? So it makes sense that they would be all enmeshed. Um, okay. So yeah, the other thing I did was, as I say, went to the Flat, which is the largest celebration of Irish music and culture in the world. That tours about city to city. And it's in Belfast this year. It's going to be in Belfast again next year. I only went for one day, and I wish I'd went for more. I'm going to try to do more of it next year, but it was just such a blast. It was like so wonderful seeing Belfast so alive, like so filled with people and music, and like just it just felt friendly and like welcoming, and yeah, just incredible experience. I had such a nice time at it. Oh yeah, and I think this is probably meaningful for you. We saw somebody, like an older dude with long hair, and my friend was like, "That's who is that?" He's like, "That is somebody from I think somebody from something local," and we never thought any more of it. Went on with our day, and then later on he texts me and he goes, "Oh, that was Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin."
Are you
I know.
serious?
Yeah,
What?
yeah,
Charles is gonna die.
right. But that is like that probably speaks to it. Like you're gonna get all sorts of people coming to this sort of thing because it's such a big deal. Yeah, yeah, right. Insane.
Uh, uh,
I know,
uh,
I know, I know.
uh.
Like I'm not as familiar enough with Led Zeppelin to really recognize that person, but that's pretty insane.
He still has long hair?
Yep. So yeah, so there you go.
Fucking Robert
Um,
Plant.
I
That's
know.
amazing.
So yes, anyway, so again, another thing I could talk about for ages, but shall we move on to what's occurring?
Yes. So we were talking a little bit about the Odyssey a few
Hmm.
weeks ago. So a couple things. Uh, so this is from Top Fan
Huh?
that wants to pass on what's bringing me joy this week was that
Okay.
I also saw the Odyssey with my 13-year-old son, and I was
Oh,
nervous they might ID him because it's a 15 rated movie here,
sure.
and underage kids are not allowed, even accompanied by parents, but I
Yeah,
got him in. And
good.
I was like, re that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like they're
Yeah.
really they're sticklers.
Yeah, they are.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, not here. They're like, I think it's in like they just no one keeps track of you. They're not like
Yeah.
standing by the door. You walk in. You could, I mean, we used to, I never did because I was a rule follower, but like people would just spend all day at the movies and you would just like go from room to room
Yes,
and
yes,
like,
yes.
yeah.
It's definitely
Anyways,
more, you actually have to book seats and everything over here now, so it's much harder to do that, but I remember doing that back in the day.
yeah, jackass, Andy, you're jackass.
I
Okay,
am.
sorry, back to Top Fan. Loved it, and so did my son. I studied classics in high school and a bit in uni, and I love the Greek mythology since I was a young child. Original Clash of the Titans, anyone? Harry Hamlin's Perseus battling Medusa, which I
Yeah.
totally remember. I forgot it was Harry fucking Hamlin, but I remember Medusa because it was terrifying. Um, Okay, also, this is for you, Andy. You've been wearing tank tops, not today, but you had a heat wave a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, this person said, I demand reassurances that Carrickfergus veterinarians are still available to attend to those sick pythons, meaning your arms.
Yeah, thanks. I'd appreciate it. That's very kind.
So yeah, that's what I've got
Love it.
for a current. You got anything?
No, not this week. Um, so we move on to our topic in that case.
I have a clarification
Okay,
station.
okay, okay. Hit me
Okay,
up.
so we were talking about air conditioning
Hmm.
because I was afraid of not having air conditioning when we came over to see you.
Yeah.
So, Top Fans said we should clarify this is a strictly Western European perversity. Southern and Eastern Europe have and use air conditioning, whereas apparently the rich and advanced Germany would have you languish in a hospital ward in midsummer with no air conditioning, which is fucking baffling.
Yes.
More people die in cold weather than hot weather, which I didn't know. And I
Mm.
have not double checked that fact, but it's Top Fans, so I'm going to go with it.
Hmm.
But no one is suggesting we shouldn't keep warm and air conditioning isn't as energy intensive as heating. It's a weird cultural quirk in the Western Europore of the Western Europore, which I've never heard the term Europore
Me
either.
neither.
So I'm
It's
learning a lot, learning a lot.
it's kind of fascinating, but not like I think very surprising because like I feel like there is like this kind of aura of like ruggedness in Europe, like no, stiff upper lip and don't let things bother me. So it's just like tough out the heat rather than like
Yeah.
think about how, effective solutions for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting.
I would say like for California, all the stereotypes are true. I went to In-N-Out Burger over the weekend and I had to wait 35, 40 minutes for my fast food lunch. I was like, I'm breaking up with you.
From in and
From
out.
fucking In-N-Out, yeah.
Insane. Okay,
And you
wow.
know me, like A, waiting in line, B, having to stand in line with like other parts of people like humanity. It freaks me the fuck out.
Insane. Insane.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we move on to our topic
Yes.
then? Okay. So our topic this week,
Mm.
continuing. Oh, wait, was that noise? Was I?
That was me with like, here we go.
Okay, here we go. Brace yourself.
Uh,
Okay. So continuing our Nicole Kidman season, we are watching Eyes Wide Shut. Probably well, I think arguably Kubrick's last film. I mean, like
it was his very last film.
obviously AI. He started AI. Is that as like but like certainly like important in that matter. Also, I think that
Wait,
like
what? Did he say he's like, what?
so Kubrick started making AI. The Steven Spielberg. Yes, so like that was his project, and then Steven Spielberg took it over. So
Oh,
yeah,
interesting. I
so
did
you
not
could
know
say
that.
that was his last film, but really, I don't think he'd done loads on it. I think he definitely had made a start on it. I'm not too
I
sure the
did not
exact
know that.
specifics. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and also like very interesting in that this is a film about kind of managing, navigating kind of romantic relationships and like sexual relationships with a couple of actors who were also kind of going through that sort of stuff at the time. So it's
And
very kind of
married.
unmarried,
Yeah.
and it's very interesting and very kind of charged, I think. I had not seen this before. Had you?
Me neither.
Okay,
I was
perfect.
That's why I was like, if we don't do it on the pod, I'll probably never watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I had it sitting there for ages, and I'd been meaning to watch it. I had just not got around to it, so I'm glad to finally have the excuse. Because like we'll talk about what my exact feelings were at the end of the episode, but like I still think it has loads of lovely like Kubrick moments in it. That I'm glad, and it was certainly interesting, which is not something you can say for every film. So yeah, I'm glad we finally made time for it.
So I'm looking at, okay, so they made the movie, it came out in 99. And I just want to see when Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman got divorced.
I think it's like 2000,
2001.
2001. Yeah.
2001 was finalized. So they were definitely going through something. Do you think they got divorced because they made this movie? And
Um,
Scientology was like, you can't be in any other cult than our cult.
yeah. I think it was. I'm sure this didn't. I mean, like, who knows? But like, I think obviously Scientology is probably the major factor by the sounds of things in their breakup. But I'm sure this was like, it just feels like so close to the what's the word I'm looking for? Close to the knuckle, I guess, in terms
Mhm.
of their what's going on in their own lives.
Mhm. Too close to
Um,
home.
yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
do you want the quick synopsis? All
Please.
right, everybody. After his wife Alice tells him about her sexual fantasies, Dr. William Hertford sets out for a night of sexual adventure. After several less than successful encounters, he meets an old friend, Nick Nightingale, now a musician, who tells him of strange sex parties where he's required to play a piano blindfolded. All the men at the party are costumed and wear masks, while the women are all young and beautiful, hopefully over age. Harford manages to find an appropriate costume and heads out to the party. Once he's there, however, he's warned by someone who recognizes him despite the mask that he's in great danger. He manages to extricate himself, but the threats provoke to be quite real and sinister. That was from Gary KMCD off of IMDb. So thank
Okay.
you, Gary.
Nice. Um, yeah, it's an interesting one. It's like in doing a bit of research about it, based on a book that was
Hmm.
originally like written or like serialized, 80 in fact, it's close to 100 years ago from where we are right now, but would have been,
Yep.
about 75 years ago from when the movie was made. Um, and it's kind of fascinating. I'm sure like ideas like this would have been extremely seismic back then. I mean, still fairly seismic probably in 1999, I would say, because it's quite like, it's a lot about like sexual liberation and, kind of emerging kind of like interpersonal dynamics and things like that. But I'd say this must have been fully scandalous back in 1924, 1925.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, yeah, it also like um there's a power dynamic to it too.
Yes.
And like, I just wrote down like rich people shit.
Yes, it's 100% rich people shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm wealthy, I need a hobby.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I got this cool club. Do you want to come? All you need is like a cape and a mask and you might have to be naked. Sure,
Yeah.
sounds great. See you there. Like these conversations, I just can't. What's the password? Right? I can't.
I think it's like whenever you're so rich that you've kind of like,
You don't wipe your own butt,
no, and you've
but
like
you want to do stuff with
exactly, you
friends.
want something that's going to like bring a bit of like spice into your life, I guess, and maybe this is it, and it's kind of like fucked that it requires other people to be involved in like demeaning and potentially dangerous, ways, like especially with a person, close to the end who tries to help Tom Cruise's character. And also the pianist who he befriends as well, in terms of what their fates are, very ambiguous. Um, I think what's interesting as well is that just before this all happens, before his wife tells him about the party, or tells him about her fantasy, they are at a party, which felt really kind of like, the flashback scenes in the Overlook in The Shining.
Yes.
It really kind of gave me those sorts of vibes in a lot of ways. And it feels like a precursor to what the film is, but it also feels really kind of important, I think, as well.
Um, it reminded me like he definitely it didn't have the same um tone as mm, the other movies that he's done for me. I was like it feels more like Rosemary's
That's
Baby.
interesting.
Um
That's
which
interesting.
that was that Pollock that directed
I think that
Rosemary's
was
Baby?
what do you call him? Why am I
Was
blanking?
it
It was
Roman Polanski?
Polanski. Yeah,
Not I was
Polanski.
like Sidney Pollock's in this movie. It was Roman Polanski.
Yeah,
Anyways, um blah. But
another chill guy. Yeah.
I know super no issues with him.
No,
Um but it also reminded me, I was kind of like Squid Game got some of the I felt like I was watching Squid Game a little bit.
that's interesting. Yeah, I can see the comparisons, and I can see even like how Squid Game would have drawn influence from this for sure.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like I started watching a show called Last Samurai Standing, which is kind of in that vein as well, based on a book. And it's just basically rich people toying with poor people's lives, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like the most dangerous game.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, as we talked about, the director for this film was Stanley Kubrick. This is our first Kubrick that we've covered.
Is
Very
it?
exciting. I'm pretty certain it is, yeah.
Okay.
And then because I don't think we've done, the only one we might have done is The Shining, and I don't believe that we have.
Nope, we haven't done that.
I'm prepared to be corrected here. Um,
Nope, we have not.
so, probably one of the most famous directors of all time, with an incredible run of movies and a huge variety of genres. In some of those genres, it's arguable that he directed the best example of it. Maybe things like Full Metal Jacket, 2001, The Shining. Like, I think for me, I don't think there's a better war movie than Full Metal Jacket. I don't think there is a better, like, psychological kind of horror type thing, The Shining. The Shining is unbeatable for me.
Yeah.
Um, um, but this movie, Eyes Wide Shut, this was the last film he fully directed himself. And while you kind of like not up there with his other movies, I think there's a lot of like hallmarks of like that sort of Kubrickian sort of vision that I
Mhm.
really like. Like I think there's such really cool camera work. I think there is the kind of patience to linger in moments that a lot of directors don't. And I really kind of quite like that draws me in. I could see how it would like repel some people, but I think, like especially like the scene where she's describing the man that she saw and her fantasies about him, I thought was really fascinating and really kind of like
Mhm.
really insightful and also like really fucking well acted as well, which was nice to see.
Mhm. I didn't take her seriously being high.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so this is. Do you want to talk about Kubrick a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll talk about. You know what? I'm gonna throw some facts at you.
Okay.
So this is in this movie is in the Guinness Book of World Records for the longest shot, the longest time. This is took them so long to film this movie. I don't know
Okay.
if Boyhood would take over because that's over like a decade or whatever, but
But
he
I
spent
wonder, you know,
400 days of production.
oh, that's insane. Because
How
like
many days in a year, Andy?
yeah, because like Boyhood also like starts production, stops production, starts, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? So probably in
yeah,
total, not 400. 400 is fucking insane.
yeah. 400 days of shooting. Continuous
Absolute
film shoot.
madness.
Yeah.
That must have cost a
S-
fortune.
So yeah. So okay. Yeah. So
Insane.
they filmed this so long there and they filmed it in England. Um they were there so long that their kids started like having British accents.
Oh, really? Wow.
I know. I'm like, that's a nice byproduct. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
I was watching it with the awareness that it was filmed in the UK, and I was like, this is a pretty convincing New York.
It was a very convincing New York. Kubrick was afraid of flying,
Yes.
so they had to basically like build it around him,
Yeah.
not wanting to go anywhere. And that whole like him, like Tom Cruise running around in the streets of New York City, that is all a fake little town that they built for this because Kubrick
Fascinating.
was afraid to have to fly, you know, across the pond.
Um,
Okay.
okay. So, do you want to quickly run through story?
Yeah, I did that. I
You
did
did it.
that.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
It's okay.
Oh dear, I am out of the rhythm of things.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're good. It's good. 2 weeks. We're yeah, you know what? No one
Settling
people are
back into
forgiving
it.
and
Oh, they
kind. We're
will
yeah.
complain and they can
I
fuck
know.
off. Okay. So like, so I am also like half not fully concentrating because I was reading a little bit about this. So he only died
Yeah.
6 days after submitting the final cut of this film, which is
Yeah.
fascinating.
Four
Um,
days after Nicole and Tom watched it for the first time.
yeah, wild shit. Okay,
And then he died.
insane. Um, okay, so composer for this film was Jocelyn Pook, an English composer whose work as a viola player gained her the attention of Stanley Kubrick and launched her film and TV composing career. So she had like released solo albums with singers and other kind of like accompanists. And as I say, I think that's what made him that kind of like drew his attention. And like she's done a ton of other things like Merchant of Venice and things like that.
Hmm.
Um, Before that, she worked with a number of important musical acts like PJ Harvey, Massive Attack, and Peter Gabriel.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I love
an
all of them.
impressive and interesting career. It really is. It's one of these people who are just like, wow,
Massive
you're
Attack and then Peter
all over it.
Gabriel.
Yeah.
We
So
love a
yeah.
spectrum. Okay, I messed up. I do want to tell you more about who wrote the story. I'm like, I already did that. You're like, you did? I'm like, yes. No, I did not.
Okay,
I told you,
okay.
I just gave the synopsis.
We're
Sorry.
both going insane. It's fine.
We are. I'm just trying to make, I'm like gaslighting you, Andy.
Yes, okay, it's fine.
Okay. Which is another movie we need to
I'm used to
watch.
it. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Right,
absolutely.
right, right.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's based on a 1926 novella called Dream Story. I'm not going to, it's, he was German. Trump, I'm not going to pronounce it. So yeah, by Arthur Schnitzler.
Okay,
Um, and so they basically like transferred the story setting from early 20th century Vienna to 1990s New York City. Um, so Kubrick read the book and was like, this is fabulous. He said it's a perfect text for a film adaptation about sexual relations. So he purchased the rights in the 1960s, even though the movie didn't come out until 1999. So he went and did some other movies between then. Um, and then in the 90s, yeah, he met up with another writer, Frederick Raphael, to help him with the adaptation. Frederick won an Oscar in 1966 for Darling.
okay.
Um, Also, it was the second to last movie he made, and he passed away after that. Oh wait, no, he's still alive. I lied. Arthur
He's alive.
Schnitzler, who wrote
Uh-huh.
the book, actually died in 1931. Um, so yeah, principal photography for Eyes Wide Shut actually began in 1996 in England, with a recreation of the whole exterior of Greenwich Village, street scenes built at Pinewood Studios. I don't know where Pinewood Studios is in England, but I would be curious
Yeah,
to see if they do tours because I want a backlot tour of that. Um, so
good
yeah,
question. Yeah, Penguin's
and
very famous. Yeah.
okay, so yeah, so Stanley, Frederick, and Arthur combined their efforts, even though Frederick was, or sorry, You guys, we're gonna cut this out. No, we're not, because we don't edit that hard.
No,
So yeah.
no.
Thank you, Arthur, for this story.
Love it. Amazing. Very cool. Bad news is Pinewood do not do studio tours. They're a working, active film and television studio, so you can't go.
Don't they
So
know who we are?
yeah, no, we'll just have to waiver credentials around.
Yeah.
Let us in. Uh,
Ask me about my podcast.
yeah, exactly. I mean, sure, if surely any podcaster could walk through those doors. I'm in the same industry. Um, okay, perfect. Um, so like I think that like initially with this film, I was like, because the dude that like so what I've written down about this in
Mhm.
terms of my how I connected to this film is that as someone who finds interpersonal relationships very confusing, this movie is not helping at all. Full stop. If anything, it's making it worse. Right? Because like immediately they go to this party and Tom Cruise's character is kind of hitting on these women. Bill, sorry, I'm going to call him, and Alice, Nicole Kidman's character is getting really kind of. Is that guy aggressively hitting on her? Would you say?
Yes.
Okay, he really is. He's kind of a creep, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he is. Okay. Um,
Yes.
he's just like intense in a really kind of like fucked up way immediately.
And like, yeah, it's just it's interesting that from the very beginning they're kind of playing it, the sexual tension is there.
Yeah,
He's watching her dancing with this creepy gentleman. And then these two, I don't know, it's like these two ladies walk up to him and they're like, "Hey, what are we doing?" And he's like, "What are we doing?" I was like, "Okay." And then the guy that's throwing the party is like, "Something happened. I need your help upstairs."
yeah,
And then you walk upstairs and there's like a naked woman who's like, ODing off of heroin and he's got to help there. So it's just Kubrick doesn't wait long to just like drop you in somewhere where you're just like, what the fuck
absolutely.
is going
The,
on?
the first example of some rich people shit. This guy who you've met, clearly a rich guy,
Sidney
you've
Pollock.
met, introduced, yes, Eddie Pollock,
Mhm.
incredible, with his wife, introducing people to the party, has a young woman, who has OD'd naked in the same kind of room as him, and
Was he
he's
wearing
like,
pants? I can't remember.
oh, he was wearing
I
pants.
think he was
Sorry,
wearing,
sorry, she was naked. Sorry,
she
he's
was
like
naked.
he's kind of stripped to the waist.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, this is absolutely rich people shit from beginning to end. Um, it's also like degrees of rich people shit because like, Tom Cruise's character is rich for sure, but he's not like ultra rich like some of these people he's kind of like working with.
He's like New York Dr. Rich,
Yes, exactly, which is
which is
pretty
anywhere
fucking
else
rich.
they would be able to, yeah, they would be millionaires, but
Yeah, absolutely.
only if you're a plastic surgeon.
100%.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's so like it was just kind of very insane to me, and I suppose it's to be fairly dreamlike, fairly kind of like, is this reality? Is it not? I mean, there was a lot of questions for me near the end because, like, later on, Alice talks about like a dream that she's had, and the dream was essentially a real parallel to the sex party he was at, and it's kind of like, was she there? Was she? But I mean, because it was uncannily similar to the experience that he'd just had.
Yes.
It was very interesting. So it is kind of like very, how much of it is real, how much of it isn't real. What are you seeing? What are you not seeing? It really kind of plays with those things in, I think, interesting ways.
Hmm. I, I know that this was a very hotly debated film when it came out. It was Kubrick's only box office, like it was the only film that he made that made it to the number one spot at the box
Yeah,
office. Um, and but at that point, like by 99, he definitely, he'd made a name for himself. And um, but there, yeah, so I went online just to see kind of like what people's theories were, and it runs the gamut. Some people think that there are like there's sort of like two movies happening at the same time. People have overlaid like one screen on top of like one, like literally like they've combined them. So like the two things are happening. I don't know. It's people have gone way, way deep into this. Some people think the whole thing was a dream. Some people think none of it was a dream. Some
Mm,
people think this is like, you know, it's about like the last few lines of the movie are her talking about gratitude. He's like comes home and he's like sobbing, and that there's like he's gone to the sex party with masked people and they keep threatening him, and then he goes into his bedroom and she's asleep, and the mask that he was wearing at the sex party is laying next to her. And so people are like, you know, did he put it there? Did the people at the sex party that were like threatening him put it there to let him know that like no, they can get to her and he's not safe? Um, so he kind of cries and sort of I'm assuming admits to what's happened and what like this kind of like sexual, I'm not going to say odyssey, sexual awakening night. I don't know what it
sure.
was. Like might not have happened at all, or it did.
Yeah.
Or it was all dream, which is like a cop out. But
It's true. But
that's
I
lazy
think,
writing. That's lazy writing.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I like, the book that it's based on is literally called Dream Story, so
Yeah.
I think, and maybe at the time that allows you to
And
get a,
also like sorry, but it's called Eyes Wide Shut. So it's like
yes,
if your
your eyes are
eyes
shut,
are
you're
shut,
sleeping.
right?
I think that allows you to get away with some things, like take some liberties and things like that, which is,
Hmm.
interesting. But yeah, it's like it's also then I know what you're saying, and I think it's tough to know exactly what the movie's trying to say because of that, because you're not sure what has meaning, what doesn't.
Hmm.
You know, does none of it have meaning? Does all of it have meaning? And it then makes it tough to navigate. And I don't always dislike that in a film. I sometimes like that ambiguity, but as much as I like a lot of it, I find it tough to like get my teeth into, I guess, the long game with this movie in terms of like where it was going, what it was, and trying to say other than, you know, it's difficult to navigate this stuff. There's some crazy shit out there. How would you navigate this stuff in a situation like that? Um, but yeah, it doesn't feel as like complete an idea as so many of his other films, to me anyway.
Okay. So one of the theories about this is that he is actually calling out Hollywood and their like
Mm,
underbelly of abuse and cult-like behavior, um, like power structures that happen within Hollywood. And so pe some people actually think that um, this movie was screened, and then 4 days later, I'm air quoting, died of a heart attack. So
interesting.
some
So
people are
there's
like,
wow.
maybe Kubrick was actually like murdered because people didn't want this view of Hollywood being put out there. And some people are like, yeah, if you watch the interviews with Kidman and Cruise, like you can tell they're nervous about talking about it. And I'm like, I think it's also like,
Ooh,
I know. Which like I'm like, I'm a skeptic in all things. So that's one theory. Also, another one is that it's just the point of the movie is, you know, to have a healthy, relationship, you need to be having sex with each other and
yeah,
and be grateful for what you have. And that's what she says at the end. He's like, "Well, where do we, like where do we go from here?" And she's like, "I think we should be grateful, that we kind of made it out of, you know, with all the things. Like
yeah,
we're still here. We're still with our daughter." Um, and then he's like, "Well, what should we do?" And she's like, "We need to fuck." And then
yeah.
that's the last line or the word fuck is the last line of the movie.
It is.
Another theory is that, yeah, this has to do with, there's a, and I don't think it's not a hidden secret anymore, but Hollywood does have a pedophilia problem.
Yeah.
And so there's some idea that they're going to give their child over to this cult and
It,
gain power as a result of it.
yeah, and like there's other like, there's because there's weird stuff happening with like this costumer who he like this who he comes across, and then like um this guy, he finds his underage daughter with these two like businessmen,
Businessmen,
Asian businessmen, and it's like
and they're
it's
naked,
and they're
and
naked, and
she's
it's
clearly underage.
and they're like cross-dressed and everything, and I think that it's interesting, like to like watch this in light of everything that's happened with the Epstein files and things like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
um so yeah, very interesting. And like just loads of crazy shit throughout, even in terms of also like he nearly has a sexual encounter with a prostitute, and
Mhm.
then meets her friend later. It's almost gonna have a sexual encounter with her, and then her
And then
friend
she's like,
reveals,
she had AIDS, and I
yeah,
was like, this is unbelievable. This
it's
is this
crazy.
is yeah.
It is. It's just sheer chaos in so many ways.
And also, like, I'm sorry, but like all of these women, every encounter, someone is hitting on him.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's like, I granted it's Tom Cruise, but I just
It's true.
don't, that part wasn't very believable for me.
No, no,
Every
he's
single encounter with a woman, they're like, let's fuck. And I'm like, that's not how it works. This,
that's
like,
true. Okay, that's
that's not how it works.
that's good. That's good to know. That makes me feel better about my life.
Yeah,
Um.
there you go.
Okay. So shall we maybe see the only other thing I've written when we start moving into our like final few sections, if you've got
Yeah,
any facts or
I
whatnot. The only
do.
thing that I have written here that I think really we need to talk about, it's important, is I've written, is this a Christmas movie?
It is definitely a Christmas
Okay, so
movie.
it's one we can bust on at
They
Christmas.
go absolutely. They're like, she's like, we gotta go take our daughter to go Christmas shopping. And it's like,
So my next family Christmas, we're settling in Christmas
yeah,
Eve.
yep,
Let's
yep.
stick on Ice White Shot.
Put your
Perfect.
masks on.
Good to know. And
Have
that's
you?
the
Go ahead.
official podcast advice from us
Yes.
here at Movie Test of Time. Ice White Shut is a Christmas movie. Watch it with your family.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Sorry. We can move on.
Have you heard of Bohemian Grove?
I have.
Okay, so Bohemian Grove, it's a big piece of land with lots of like basically it's like where all of the wealthiest people in the world get invited for 2 weeks every year.
Yeah.
And it's like they burn some shit. People are, uh, someone snuck in, I think was it last year or the year before, and they wrote about what they saw there. And it's definitely like this kind of culty, people wearing robes,
Yes.
burning things, nudity, sex. Like again, everyone needs a hobby.
Sure.
Just don't, sacrifice babies.
Yeah.
Okay, so um this was a trust fall, I think, for the Cruise Kidman family, with Kubrick. He ran through other names of people that he wanted, but he decided that he wanted to work with them specifically. They signed open-ended contracts, so they agreed to work on the project until Kubrick said they were done and could be released from
Holy
their contract.
shit.
I know, however long that turned out to be. So they just literally like gave themselves over to this movie completely. Um, yeah. Uh, so Kubrick watched for inspo movies like Showgirls, Basic Instinct, and Fatal Attraction during the editing phase to get the idea of like how explicit the sex scenes could be and still keep its rated R rating. Because that was like contractual. He couldn't make it NC-17, which I don't know what that is for you guys,
It's
but for
18.
okay, NC-18.
Yeah. No, it's just 18.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. Anyways, okay, so there's the mansion party with the chanting. It loosely translates to we still pray for the mercy, the life, the peace, the health, the salvation, the scrutiny, neglection, and forgiveness of the sins of God's servants, worshippers, almsgivers, benefactors of this holy site. Another line of the chanting means God says to his followers, a new commandment I give you. I'm not going to read the Romanian original. But basically, there's a portion where you're listening to it, and it's the vocal track, it's run in reverse. So they're saying it backwards. Do you remember there was a thing like when we were kids, and they were like, if you listen to Beatles records backwards, it says like John is dead and Satan
Sure.
is good or whatever. If anyone's done that and it's true, let us know.
Uh-huh.
So Tom Cruise is required to do 95 takes of just walking through a door.
Oh my God.
But according to director of photography Larry Smith, poor Larry, this was relatively exceptional. Aware of director Stanley Kubrick's reputation for endlessly repeated takes, Smith stated with certain actors on his previous pictures, I think he felt that he needed 70 takes to get them to do the scene properly. It wasn't like that with Tom and Nicole, however. We occasionally did lots of takes, but it was more often due to logistical problem than acting issues. They also, I read, they cut somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes out of the movie. So it would have been way longer. And I don't
Why?
know what that would have looked like if there was an extended version of that.
Yeah.
And we'll never know. Okay, I think you'll like this. During his long stay in the UK, Tom Cruise visited a Blockbuster store to rent a movie video. Imagine his surprise when the sales staff asked him for two forms of identification. Even though Blockbuster was an affiliate of Paramount, for whom Cruise has made some of the greatest hits, including Top Gun and Mission Impossible franchise, they still wouldn't issue him membership. Blockbuster management, when quizzed about the incident, praised the staff for correctly following store policy.
Amazing. That
Other video
rocks.
stores would display newspaper articles recounting the story to show prospective members why they needed to bring necessary ID when joining. Somewhere, someone has this article, and I'm gonna find it and frame it.
Amazing.
Okay, this one I got for you specifically.
Okay.
Okay. The mask that Bill Harford wears with his costume is modeled from the face of who do you think?
Jeez, I have no idea. Was it Stanley Kubrick himself?
No, but you're on the right track.
Mm.
It was another lead for one of his other films, I'll say.
Oh,
You can
Jack Nicholson.
know Ryan O'Neal
Oh,
as a
wow.
reference to Barry
Barry
Lyndon,
Lyndon.
which I know
Amazing.
you watched and you did like.
Yeah,
And
it's
I love
true.
that film
I
too.
can
I
see
know.
that. I can see that because a lot of like the styling of the mask is quite Barry Lyndon sort of era. That's interesting.
Yes. And it was his face.
Amazing.
So those are my facts
Love it.
there.
Okay.
You guys, okay, so like this concept of like sex clubs and going out to find like we have those. I've never been to one,
Sure.
but we have them here. Do you
Yeah.
guys have those clubs?
Probably, but I'd say like it's way more puritanical. Certainly where I am. Like I remember years ago there was this like school dinners themed restaurant that opened up, and it was like basically the waitresses were dressed in like public school uniforms, little
Yeah,
skirts, and so on and so forth. Like no more like no like probably better than like Hooters, for example, and that was like closed down, moral outrage that was closed down. So I'd say these things exist, but they're kind of more underground. You
they're
know.
underground. Like, did I drive you when you saw me in Portland? Did I drive you by the bikini coffee stands?
Oh yes, I didn't, but I've
Okay,
heard about
yeah.
them. I
Yeah,
like.
so
I was gonna say I do know. I've heard friends of friends I know have attended to or at least been invited to like house parties. There are things
yeah,
like this, so that they
yeah.
definitely do exist.
And like our parents' generation, they were having like yeah.
Yeah,
Is it their parents? It doesn't matter. But they were having key parties where you would like, again, everyone needs a hobby, but you would go and you would
exactly.
put all your keys in a bowl. And then at the end of the night, you would like pull a set of keys and whoever's keys those belong to, you would go home with that person.
It's the wildest shit.
Anyways,
I
I
think that
know.
like
I really like doing yoga, but that's me.
exactly. Yeah, I'm the same. It sounds like a lot of interpersonal management that I can't
I
be
just
arsed with.
don't have time. Yeah,
No,
busy,
exactly.
too busy.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's get into our final few wee sections here. So to at the fit, who had the best fit outfits in the movie? Gotta be Nicole Kidman, looking fucking incredible.
Yeah. There's
I
one of the opening scenes, she's like slipping herself out of a dress and she's
yeah,
totally butt ass naked. Best butt in the world.
yeah,
Love it.
incredible.
Go Nicole. But that was actually one of her own dresses and she still has it.
Amazing. No, she looks absolutely sensational in this film. And like, yeah, really, I think
And
I wrote
smart
at
and
one point,
strong and brave.
100%. Like I say, great in her acting's like on point, the best I've ever seen her. Really good. Um,
You know, she was gonna quit actually.
that can make sense.
Um,
Yeah.
do you want a couple of Nicole Kidman
Okay,
facts?
heavy up.
So, yeah, so it was one of her favorite experiences working on a film. She said it was like attending film school. She was talking about retiring from acting and just hanging out with the kids, and he told her that was not okay. He was like, you owe it to your talent not to stop acting, so he
Amazing.
convinced her to keep going. Um, I like this too because it makes her like Nicole Kidman. She's just like us. When she was 14, she got her first job at the Capitol Theater in Sydney, where she worked as an usherette at Sesame Street Live.
Wow, amazing. Love it.
Something super weird. She experienced her first romantic kiss while watching The Shining with a boyfriend.
Nuts.
You know,
Well, what a film to have your first romantic kiss at. That's
yeah,
crazy.
yep.
Okay. Um, so
I think mine was the
unfortunately,
Candyman.
huh? Oh God,
Mine
yeah.
was the
Oh wow,
Candyman.
really?
Yeah,
That's insane. I can't even remember what my first kiss was or where it was. I think it was in the dance floor somewhere, but not at a movie. Um, okay. Andy's Animal Acting Award for excellence in animal acting. An NA. No animals in this film. There wasn't like cat paintings, I think, but like no
yeah.
animals. So bit disappointing
No.
on the animal front.
I mean, there were like masks that could be animalistic,
That's
but yeah,
true. That's
never.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, Beth, for Eyes Wide Shut, would you revisit, remember, refuse, or redo?
You know, the internet is nuts, and there are some
Yeah,
people that are like, this is the best film he made, and other people are like, I don't get it.
sure.
I'm somewhere in between
Yeah,
that. I've probably seen Barry Lyndon 10 times. I've probably seen The Shining 25.
yeah, I've seen it so many times. Yeah,
So many times. Just like that's kind of a comfort movie almost in a
yeah.
weird, fucked up way. Um, I'm gonna revisit it. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
give myself a break, maybe
Mm-hmm.
5 year break, but I'm gonna revisit it in like 5 years because I feel like I'm missing something.
Yeah, that's I like that because I had written down remember, and but I think ultimately you're right because like there was a lot to enjoy and there's a lot of quality stuff in there.
Yeah.
Really glad I finally got around to watching it. Like you say, not probably, for now, certainly not one of my like top Kubrick films, but it like, the worst film of his is still a really good film, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if you think about it in that context, the very, very least you can give it is remember, but I think a revisit is more appropriate.
And I was just feeling bummed out because like, we were only able to get so much until from him before he passed, but
Yeah.
he wrote a screenplay for a movie about Napoleon,
Yes.
and they're turning it into he did like a treatment for it, and they're turning it into a TV miniseries.
That was like
So
his
that's
White Whale. That was a film he was trying
yeah,
to get
yeah.
made his entire career.
So
Yeah.
someone is helping him from you know
Interesting.
so
Interesting.
whoever he is haunting that works for whatever company this TV miniseries, like, do it for Kubrick,
Yeah.
and he will stop haunting you.
I think, considering how long he takes to make films, probably like we were only ever going to get a handful of films from him, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that we did
Can you
get the
imagine
ones that we did.
like Christopher Nolan talks about like, oh, 3 months, 6 months shoot. And everyone's like, no one sits down, there's no chairs, there's no cell phones, you can have coffee, like whatever. And everyone's like, it's so amazing. But I'm like, can you imagine doing that for 400 fucking days?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, you probably get old after a while. It really would. Okay.
Yeah.
Um. So Beth, what's been bringing you joy this week?
Okay, so you know me, and I've been trying to read books,
Mm.
and I just can't pick up a paper book. And like, if I just, I kind of got to the point where I was like, you're making it harder than it needs to be. Be kind to yourself. You love reading,
Hmm.
get a fucking Kindle.
Yeah.
So I bought a Kindle,
Hell yeah.
and I'm giving it the Andy treatment. So I put my cell phone out in the kitchen at night. I'm
Hmm.
only allowed to read if I wake up. I'm on day 4. I'm reading Lena Dunham's Famesick
Sure.
book that she wrote. I'm loving it because she's the voice of a generation.
Hmm.
If you've seen Girls, that's a joke, the
Sure.
show. So I'm loving it.
Nice. Good.
I'm reading like I used to go through books like very quickly, and I'm almost done with this. I'm gonna
Uh,
finish it
I've heard
today.
that's a good book, actually. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
heard it's very good. Um, yeah, I read a book because like I brought my Kindle away with me because it's easier for like travel and stuff, especially if you're in a tent, you're not having to worry about glasses and like a light source and things.
Yes.
And it was just nice to kind of have a book that I just kind of like shot through in like a week.
Yep. So yeah, I love it. And you
Yeah,
have it, and you're like, I read my Kindle. I'm like, how do you do that? So doing it, you were right, and I love it, and I'm loving it.
I'm happy to hear it. Good, good,
Thank
good.
you. What about
Uh,
you?
I think, bring me joy, holidays. I mean, truly, just spending time. Both the recent trip in Scotland, also like that day in the flat, which was just like kind of like a wee adventure. Even like holidays where it's like other people coming to visit you, like you guys all
Yeah,
coming to see me.
yeah.
They're so restorative for me, and they're so important to me, and I'm blessed and lucky that I can do it. But like it truly is probably one of the most joyous things in my life. So it's always fun.
I love that. Thank you. And I was thinking about that because, just like seeing you not too long ago, like spending quality time with Alexa for her
Mm-hmm.
wedding, and like, other people that I've been able to see that I haven't seen in a long time, but are like, good friends that I have that are all over the world. But it's like, you guys are my people.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
hear you.
lucky.
I agreed. Couldn't agree more. Love it.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, so folks, next week we are finishing our Nicole Kidman season with Cold Mountain, if you want to watch along at home. Um, but yeah, Beth, can you tell everybody where they can find us?
You can find us at movietestofTime.com. Um, Anywhere that you get your podcasts, and on the Facebook and the social media of Instagram and TikTok.
I love it.
Yeah.
I should also
Huh.
mention as well, next month in September, because we're like recording close to release dates at the minute, so it's your best opportunity yet to really kind of get involved and make suggestions. We are
Hmm.
going to be covering the movies of Paul Giamatti in September, so if you do have suggestions, let us know ASAP, and we can
Yep.
maybe add some of them in there.
Yep.
But yeah, okay. I think in that case, we've reached the end of this week's episode. And as always, we'd like to say goodbye to our shady and confused fans.
I can't believe that we did Eyes Wide Shut.
I know. I, I,
And
I
our episode, like, under, like, I was like, we're gonna go long. We're gonna go long.
no, 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 screw that. We're on the clock. On the clock. All right. We love you.
Love you.
Bye
Bye. Bye.
bye.
Bye.